I would have loved to say good to see you, but I've been seeing you almost every weekend for the last 7 weeks. So
yeah, we've been married. I think one of the things that you forgot to mention is the fact that I wear the best suits.
Okay. Let me not make it. Let me not make you lose points, because you're studying very well. You're just about to lose yourself points right here.
Apologies,
mate. I speak a lot, and I repeat one thing again and again and again with especially small business people, that without sales you got no business.
Yeah.
That forget about it. I don't care what else you have. Your marketing could be exciting, your branding could be great, your product and service could be the best out of this world. If you don't sell, you got absolutely no business.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's easier said than done. How do we do it? How do we attract businesses?
So I think for me, well, I think first and foremost, I'd like to greet our listeners. I'm so excited to be in studio tonight with you, Rams, and the team. Thank you so much for having me out here. And I think for me, when selecting this particular topic was, I mean, you know, over the past couple of weeks, we've been dealing with entrepreneurs, and I've gotten a great opportunity to literally on a weekly basis work with entrepreneurs. And I found it so astounding and so amazing that one of the biggest things, I mean, of the top 5 things that entrepreneurs are really battling with is branding, marketing, and mostly related to attracting new customers.
Yeah.
Like, it's a serious problem. And when I sit back and I think about it, I mean, I don't view it as a problem anymore. You know, 12 years later, I view other things as a problem. I view systems and processes as a problem. But one of the key things I started to realize is that to a startup entrepreneur, how to clearly articulate who you are, what you are all about is a big problem. You muffle, you find amazing entrepreneurs muffling their words, muffling their product, but you're standing there as a mentor, as a judge, observing this individual who's got a great product, and you're thinking, articulate it, you know? I mean, and I think on the base of the conversation we're having today, you know, some of the research I've done has showed, I mean, through a study that was done, that was funded by your Facebook and the World Bank, through a monthly online survey, they found that, I mean, I think customer attraction for SMMEs, or rather small businesses, is as number 1 of the top 5 things. And you find that number 2 and number 3, it's things like revenue increase and sales. But here's the true thing that we always need to understand. Customers become your custodians. When you talk about stakeholders in every business, whether you mention a SaaS or you mention shareholders, you can't mention any of those individuals without mentioning customers.
Your customers, yeah.
But one of the key things that we always understand is that when we are not able to understand, or rather when we are not able to clearly decipher how to attract customers, then you might not be able to get it.
So you got 7 lessons you want to share. I don't know if you'll catch all the 7s, but let's try and get to them. You say your first one is to identify the customer.
Yeah. I think it's very important for us to identify the customer. Identification of the customer speaks to where are your customers, what are they looking like, what are they eating. It's pointless for you to waste time selling to someone who's not even going to buy your product.
Or even everyone. Yes. I have a problem with a business person who says my client is everybody. And there's no such thing as everyone.
And I think entrepreneurs out there, you must understand that we have all been in this boat. I mean, I've sat in so many judging sessions where I was being the one judged, and they asked me, who are your clients as a branding manufacturing company? And I told them, anyone is my client. You could buy a t-shirt, you could buy gazebos, you could buy this, but those people are my clients at the end of the day. And I think being able to identify your customers becomes very important. But someone then asks, how do you identify your potential customers? One of the easiest ways, number 1, is to clearly understand who in your industry, or rather who in your community, your industry, all around you utilizes your services.
Yeah.
I mean, there are different search engines that you can use, social media platforms that you can use to try and understand who uses your service.
Yes.
And when you try and understand who uses your service, one of the key things that you also need to understand, which of your products can you get an amazing and a great return on investment? It took a long time for me to understand this, but I got to a point in business where I started to understand that there's a certain market, or there's a certain product that we have. This product we make no money from, but this product is such a great bait that we utilize to get bigger clients to come in and do business with us. And this has worked tremendously well, but this doesn't work well up until you understand where your big fish is and where you are getting your revenue from. I am all for the narrative that says Don't chase away the sardines. These are the people that are bringing in 1 rand, 2 rand, 3 rand, 4 rand, 5 rand.
Yeah.
But also then work around building systems and hiring the right people that are going to bring you in the 10 million, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing: if you spend most of your time as a startup entrepreneur chasing sardines, then you're probably going to spend the next couple of years stuck in the same position.
It's going to be very difficult to get to the sharks.
So I'm not undermining any customer, but here's my take. I believe in this approach: bottom up and top down approach. Meaning that if we lay out the buying scale and if we lay the procurement scale out, this would mean that large organizations need to buy from startup entrepreneurs and SMMEs to foster and accelerate their growth, and SMMEs need to be dealing with large organizations. Because if I am making 10 rand from dealing with Mr. Rams Mabote, how much more if I'm dealing with the organization that is Rams Mabote, that has got a footprint all over Africa and they're procuring from me? That fast accelerates the growth and it pushes the economy. We always talk about SMMEs are the number one, not necessarily the number one employer, but they employ quite a number of people, and they could be the economic driver of the country. But the economic drive that they have is through numbers like 2 employees, 5 employees. Yes, the impact is more because they're getting to feed 20 to 30 families. But think about it this way: the growth would then be accelerated way more if they were put in a position where now they were dealing with a top-down and a bottom-up approach. Identify the customer. Not everyone is a customer. It's like Ukshela Brarems. Not every girl is your girl. Sometimes you gotta sit to the side and realize that this one, no.
I like that example, because I remember years ago there was this thing that ungasheli underachieve. You can't do shela wonke umuntu odlulayo. Shela underachieve.
No, you can't.
You gotta choose your target and choose it very well. So word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
How does it play in this game?
So Brarams, word of mouth for me is still very important. But I want to drive the word of mouth conversation to entrepreneurs and say this. The reason why, was having a marketing conversation with someone the other day, and they were saying, word of mouth has faded away. I mean, they're big things now like billboards and social media and digital and vehicle advertising and all newspapers and all these things, but word of mouth have died. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because the whole point of any marketing collateral is to stimulate conversation. The whole point of your business, your entire business practice as an individual, is simply for you to do one critical thing, for you to stimulate conversation.
Yeah.
And one of the key things as entrepreneurs to this conversation, word of mouth, the word of mouth really, for me, encapsulates this particular tag. Utilizing a zero budget, utilizing zero funds to get people to talk about you.
Yeah.
Because what happens when people talk about you, it breeds endowment.
Yes.
Brand endowment. When it breeds brand endowment, then people draw. When it breeds brand endowment, there is a brand affinity. There is a brand liking. There is. Even if someone has not even used your brand, but the moment people start conversing about a Rams Mabote, the right people, then it's kind of sends a psychosomatic message. Now, this is neuron message that says maybe Rams is a good guy because good people are speaking about Mr. Rams Mabote.
But that is built over time.
Yeah, that is built over time for Rams. But also, what I think to this particular conversation, something that entrepreneurs can do tomorrow is simply this. Think of yourself, Rams. Many times we've gone to networking sessions, right? In networking sessions, when the convener or whoever's running the program says, all of the entrepreneurs in the room go and meet someone and network, what do we turn into? We turn into business card collectors.
That's what we do.
No one actually networks. Everyone turns into business card collectors.
Yeah.
So then someone says, how can I use word of mouth? How can I get someone to become a brand champion for me when they don't even know me? It's purely in how you position yourself.
Because you don't tell them about you.
No, you didn't tell them about
yourself. You shoved
the
card in their face.
You shoved the card in their face, but the card looks like every other card. I was saying to someone the other day, advising them, imagine if your sales agents actually sang for clients. If they sang the quotation out for clients. You know what that would do to trickle into a ripple effect with clients, where those clients would go home and say, honey, you know what, today I had the craziest day. This supplier sales agent actually called me. Who's the supplier sales agent? So everyone in that household would be talking about you. That is why it matters with the little touch points. So your touch points are your flyers, your business cards, your website, your vehicle branding. They need to spark conversation. I was even saying to someone, you could drive it as far as saying you're gonna paint your car blue, or instead of emailing invoices to your client, you're always gonna deliver deliver them and do something pretty cool that people will talk about at the end of the day. Because here's the true thing. It is not about whether you're great. It's not about the best. We all know stories about people that sing better than the greatest musicians that we listen to. We know stories about the greatest entrepreneurs, but these entrepreneurs that are stocked up or that are shacked up wherever. It's not about being the best. It's about standing out from amongst the rest and shouting the loudest. Because here's the true thing, Barams. No one picks from the bottom of the barrel, even if at the bottom of the barrel we get the best, because it requires effort. Everyone picks from the top.
089-110-3377. Join us in this conversation with the coach, Bulelani Balabala, about how to grow your customer base. Then you speak about looking within.
Yes. Here's the thing with Rams. How many times have you come across people? They've got a problem. They never look within. They're always trying to find the solution in people. They're always trying to find the solution in, maybe I need to go to a DFI, maybe I need to go to whatever X, Y, and Z finding institute, maybe I need to find an angel investor, maybe I need to find my customers from whoever, and then they sit in a rut and they puzzle, but you find it within. And what are we talking about when we're finding it within? Everyone is born knowing a certain amount of people. And I think in this particular tag, I have tagged it nicely at the bottom when I've said that your network literally will determine your net worth. And oftentimes we overlook the network and the resource that is our family, that is our neighbors, that is our community, forgetting that they work for someone. They work for a company that could either be in need of your service or your product.
Yeah.
And you already have a foot in, but you're not looking at your immediate network and you're not looking at the people around you. And there's so many people that we have around us. But looking within, as or for me, talks to clients that you've already serviced.
Yeah.
There are key clients that you will sell a service to and you'll sell a product to. And in the true sense, they might not even have budget to buy anything more from you. And in most cases, they might even only be spending 100 Rand for you. But these key individuals have a network. These key individuals have people that they know who are within their network that could open much bigger doors. And the key thing about that is being able to boldly ask a client, would you please refer us to someone? The moment they say yes, do you have people in mind that you could refer us to? And work with a referral system at the end of the day, because your people are your greatest asset.
I used to say that one of the greatest things to say to a potential client, once they have concluded with you, especially once they have said no, you say, do you know anybody else I can speak to?
Yes. Yes.
It does not take anything away from you.
It
Do
doesn't.
you know anybody else I can speak to about this product or service?
It doesn't. But do we have that sales, do we have that sales finesse, that sales culture, that marketing culture that says, once I have attracted you in, if you don't want the service and you love what I'm about, are there other people that you could refer me to? And those people become your champions in opening doors.
So actually, you're going to turn your current client or your potential client to start doing word of mouth for you.
Yes.
Because they may be saying no because they don't have the budget, not because they don't like your product, but they can go to somebody else who they believe can buy from you.
They know so many other people.
Now, the next concept has always had a very, very negative connotation. And you turning it around. Friends with benefit.
Friends with benefit programs. No. I mean, I think for me, in this particular day and age, in order for you to move your business really to another level and really to be global, you can't do it without having great friends with benefits. And I think, obviously the tag that we used here is as one to entice and woo people in. But all it means at the end of the day is simply understanding one key thing, that innovation is, collaboration is the new innovation. Being able to collaborate with people, being able to find a Mr. Rams Mabot and say, you know what, guys, I'll come into the show, I'll do X, Y, and Z. As a giveaway, could I come into the show and you guys refer me to the guests so I can sell certain products to them?
Yep.
How are you buttering your product? How are you buttering your product to move yourself to a whole new level? Here's my thing. One of our biggest clients, not necessarily one of our biggest clients, one of the clients that we work with is a well-known agency that funded the first machine that I ever bought. But they weren't even giving us business for over 10,000 Rand or even 20,000 Rand a month. They weren't even giving us business at all. We were starting the relationship out, and I decided these guys have the money. And I then wrote up a 2-page proposal and I put it up to them, and they funded me 280,000 with no interest. I bought my first machine 6 years ago through them. And we then do not understand that there are certain benefits that you stand to derive from people that are around you, that are either in the same industry, that are selling the same service. Because you must understand one critical thing. A lot of people are trying to compete with people that are not competing with them. You find a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, if an agency or a company has been around for the past 100 years or 150 years, you're not gonna shake them up in the next 2 days. You're not gonna shake them up in the next 2 years. But the best thing is for you to identify things that they are not selling to, so that you can breed collaboration and move yourself to a whole new level. And that's what Friends with Benefits is. It's identifying companies that are doing work similar to yours.
Yeah.
You guys can collaborate in moving that work forward, or cross-selling. And cross-selling for me would be, an accounting company that has got amazing, great clients. You then decide as a branding company, you're going to give their branding for free if they can put you in front of their clients. And you then say
at this point, I have to regret that I remember some fellow from Tembisa saying to me, to thank me for having collaborated with them. They wanted to help me with my branding, and I never took advantage of it. Do you know that guy?
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna go back to him. We've got a caller, and I hope I don't have to panic, Lechar. Good evening. Okay. We've moved on.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hey, brother, how's it, man?
Hey, sharp, long time no see.
Hey, sharp, brother, how are you, man?
No, I'm good. I'm in Limpopo, man. I'm just saying it's refreshing to hear your voice. I know you're very good coach.
Nah, thank you to Rams and the team, brother.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. Just what I say, my man. I just want to let you know you also inspire us. Yeah.
Nah, thank
That's
you so
brilliant,
much, man.
mate.
Thank you
That's
so much,
brilliant.
Lechari.
Hey, Talakare, thank you very much for the call. 089-110-3377. Normally, you would have to pay a lot of money to listen to people like Bulelani. We're giving them to you for free. Take advantage of this communication. Call, tweet us, ask your questions. Because next time you see him, he's gonna come to you at a fee. I have always said to people, the minute you start a business and you run that business, the first message that you send in the market is that you're the expert in that business.
Yes.
And you gotta play that game.
Yes. So, which goes to, this point right here, becoming an industry expert. And, we overthink this. Because you know what jumps in with Rams? It's the, why me?
Yeah.
Who said I knew?
What gives me the right?
Yeah, what gives you the right? Who accredited you and who approved you?
Yeah.
But no one has to approve you. You're the one who needs to approve you. And we spend most of our lives waiting for people's approval. We spend most of our business lives waiting for people to open up the door and say that you've got the right to come in. You've got the right to chill with the big boys. But you need to understand one thing before we jump into this point with Rams. Everyone who was doing what they're doing was not taught to do what they are doing. They're doing something that they don't know. And every day they wake up, they're asking themselves, how am I doing this? But everyone who's on the outside was doing nothing and was watching people doing stuff, they're kind of wondering, oh, wow, Rams has got it all in control. No, he's learning new things each and every day. And that is the art and science of becoming an industry expert. You're going against the grain. You are deciding that, you know what, in my industry, so if your industry is beauty, and if your industry is broadcasting, you are going to start blogging. You are going to start writing on your Facebook page, on your social media accounts about, so you're going to start writing about that particular industry. The do's and don'ts, the new products, the new products that are out there in the market. How can people straighten their hair out better?
Yep.
How do you preserve your hair if you're going for a natural look? If you're going for artificial hair, what is the best way to take care of it? What is the best way to store it? What you are then doing is that you are building an audience. You are building an audience of consumers that are going to they are building, number one, an audience of consumers that are going to follow you. Most importantly, that are going to help you build your brand. Why? They're going to help you build your brand for the large organizations, the large international organizations that are in the same space as you to take heed and to take note for what you are doing.
Because most importantly, they trust you.
Yes.
But you have to trust yourself.
Yes.
It's very important to trust yourself first.
And people don't realize. So people are waiting to have 20,000 followers or 100,000 followers, but having one person following you, that's a following. And the key thing with building content as well to being an industry expert is we're waiting for people to retweet our content, for people to share our content, and that's not the whole point. The point is to put content out there and make sure that you are consistent each and every day about new content. One wise person says this, that publishing a book in the actual sense, you could break it down this way. It's a book with over 10,000 or 20,000 characters in it. When you break it down, it's actually Facebook posts that are put together. When you break it further down, it's actually tweets that are broken down into little bits. And each and every day you're publishing a book. But are you publishing this book to move your business to a whole new level? Everyone has got tools around them, and we've got tools around us that we are utilizing to show people how we are living, but why aren't we utilizing these social tools to move our businesses to a whole new level?
Okay, we're going to take more calls, but I need to ask you about this one. There's always something that bothers me. Are we active? Do we have enough activity in our lives as business people to attract clients? Do we create enough activity?
There are too many activities, Brams. There are too many activities. And I think the reason why I put the activity there is we talk a lot. And I mean, I'm all for getting things done. We talk a lot. So once the listeners have listened to what we have brought to them, which is literally worth a lot of money and is going to help them move their businesses to a whole new level, it all totally means nothing at the end of the day if they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I think to stick to the notes in terms of what we're talking about, the activity here is, are you attending the networking events? It matters to attend the events to get yourself there, and it matters to participate in these events. Participation could be you buying a ticket to show up. Participation could be you being part of the speaker panel. And people don't realize that if you don't put yourself out there, then you don't know what opportunities you're turning away at the end of the day. There's so many expos. So someone was saying to me, I mean, before we even started exhibiting at expos, you know what we do? I'd get my TAS, I'd load up 2 guys, we'd get flyers, we'd go to expos that we were not exhibiting at, and we start handing flyers. So one guy was mandated to hand out flyers to the people that are walking around checking other expos, checking other exhibition tables and other exhibition stands. That was the one guy. The second guy, I tasked him to specifically go to expo stands and tell them that we do branding. The next year, the next time they come here, they need to deal with us. And my job was tasked to find the people that were organizing the events and see if I can woo them to giving us the contract the next year. There are ways and means, for you to activate your space that are free resources. It's probably going to cost you 200 Rand, but it's going to move you to a new level.
We're going to take 2 calls before we conclude. We're running out of time very fast. Stephen in Blackpan, sorry mate. Good evening to you. Very well, thank you.
I'm well, sir. How are you? Nice to meet you. Hola, Kaze. Hola, Kaze.
You've got a guy there who understands, what really the type of art that he has is just the right type of art. Most of our youth need in our township.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm wishing all the best of luck. And I know that everyone is looking again on one of these key events coming up. So I just want to just wish you well.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much,
Thank you for the
Steve.
call.
Thanks, sir.
Glory in Cape Town. Good evening.
Good evening to you, gentlemen in the studio.
We
We're
go.
good,
Thank
sir.
you.
Sure. I was about to do this number of work now. I'm done, and I'm in the business of furniture. We do furniture, and I restore furniture. And so I received a letter about 4 months ago that our boss wouldn't keep us anymore. We're just 2 people. So I offered if I could rent the workshop, So since that time till today, I'm still getting some jobs.
Brilliant.
Wow, nice.
Brilliant.
Hearing, listening to the guy in the studio just makes it worth doing, It makes it, you just touch my heart. I'm going to say this, but touch my heart. Keep on pushing every day, although things don't look bright right now. We're going through it no matter what.
Great
Wow.
stuff. Great stuff.
Thank you, my brother.
In concluding, and in response to Glory,
Yes,
I want us to conclude by you talking to us about following up.
So
because that's what glory did.
Yes, follow that. So we have spoken about all these beautiful points, right? But at the end of the day, you find entrepreneurs selling amazingly well, but you're not closing. What's the whole point?
Yeah.
Because the whole point is not to open a sale up and leave it dangling. You need to be able to close. You need to be able to follow up. Sometimes you're going to someone to go and sell a product and they're telling you, we were not interested right now, but come back in 6 months, and you disappear because they were not able to give you the money at that point. But you don't know, when the moment they have the money, they would have loved what you were selling and how you were selling it so much that they would only want to be dealing with you. And understand one critical thing. When you are going out, it's an activity at the end of the day. That's why we need to follow up. So you were going out and you were throwing seed everywhere.
Yeah.
And when you were throwing seed everywhere, you're never going to know if that seed is going to land on fertile ground. That's why it's important for you to always go back. It's important for you to go back so that you can check if the harvest that you have put is growing. And if that harvest is not growing, what sort of entrepreneurial education can you put in so that you help the harvest to grow? And I think that's the most important thing. And as I close it down, follow up all the time and make sure that you follow through. And I think most importantly to the entrepreneurs that are out there, entrepreneurship, yes, is not glamorous. It's not the easiest thing. And there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of strife. Pay the price. Don't take any shortcuts. Pay the price.
Mr. Get Things Done.
Yes, sir.
How do they get hold of you?
I mean, they can get a hold of me on all my social media platform. It's at Bulelani Bala. All social media platform at Bulelani Bala. They could alternatively go into my website, bulelani.co.za. I also have a lot of videos on YouTube, and we'll also be putting up the video for the show. But most importantly, entrepreneurs, make sure that you do one critical thing. Get things done.
The coach leaves the room.
Again, he's just a man, but a man with something special. When the kids ran, the most powerful laptop in the world, loaded with an all-night presentation. If he's
You know I do.
there are easy ways to get business straight. Backed by a team of industry experts, you can afford to fear less for your business. Do next with Standard Bank Business Banking. Standard Bank is an authorized financial services and
Saying free, man. You can talk anytime. I'm free.